This is Frank Rolfe. It's my pleasure to have with me today Blake Comfort. He's in California, but he owns a number of parks, 25 parks in both Arizona and Texas. He's been in the business for about 16 years. And we thought it would be exciting to learn more about him and what he's been doing with mobile home parks. It's, of course, rarefied air to meet people who own the things. So it's always good for owners to share kind of the communal fellowship of park ownership. So we all can learn from each other and understand what's going on. So Blake, can you hear us okay?
I got you loud and clear. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. Well, Blake, we're glad to have you. So tell me first, what gave you the idea to ever buy a mobile home park? It's obviously a very strange notion that no one grows up with the desire, like I want to be a fireman, I want to be a policeman. No one has ever said I want to be a trailer park owner. So what gave you that initial light bulb going off about buying a mobile home park?
So when I was 17, 18 years old, we went to one of those Rich Dad educational series seminars where they kind of broad stroke lay out a bunch of different platforms and assets and how to do it. And we had no money, to really speak of. So it was kind of that 0%, no down, no money down kind of thing. And they touched on manufactured housing or trailer parks, mobile home parks as an asset class. And my dad, who was having to reimagine his career in that moment, he was a general contractor for years. We both kind of looked at each other and a light bulb went off that we thought we could scale that better than and more quickly without having to hire a big team. And the price per unit back then was way more approachable. And so we, little by little, we just fell in love with the industry.
Okay, and you have so many parks. We can't really break it down park by park because there's too many of them. So we'll break the park discussion into kind of a general. If you took all of them together, or maybe give us just kind of a averages. So of the 25 parks you own so far, let's first talk about where you found them. What percent of those came from brokers? What percent direct mail, cold calling, online? Give us just a quickie generalization of that. Where do you think most of them came from?
95% were brokers with a deal, not all listed, but probably 80% were listed. And, they get sent out to the handful, maybe 10, 20. I don't think they were huge, hundreds of groups that saw them, but definitely brokers involved. And then we did a bunch of stuff. I, in the day, talked to your guys' acquisitions lead, Perry, and got some pointers on that long-term, endeavor of off market. We did steal, one deal at like 50% off. It had some hair on it, so we fixed it up over 18 months and basically sold it for double.
Gotcha.
But that was like the only one that we really got as a great deal off market. The rest, majorities from brokers.
Okay, and again, in all generality, the majority of your banking has been what? Is it seller financed? Is it small town bank, conduit bank, Fannie, Freddie? Just on average, what would you think?
Yep. So in the early days, banks, regional banks, smaller banks that were within 5 miles, you used to talk about that. You got to go to the bank down the street. We did that because it was like when we first started buying parks, 2009 was when we first bought our very first asset in North Denver. That was all that you could get. And then smaller deals, we started at like a $600,000 or $700,000 deal. So we got bank loans. Now our entire, portfolio is Fannie or Freddie. Couple CMBS, couple bank loans, but for, by and large now I'm getting them done with Fannie and Freddie.
And let's talk about the early days, because you went to the seminar thing. You heard the idea about mobile home parks.
All right, if you're enjoying this content, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, and check out the description below for our websites listed. Thanks a lot for joining.